Hey everyone, Depressed Dior here with a bit more Apex stuff. So, I'll talk about this box in a second. I lost 3 times getting to this point. I'm a bit tired and I also got a bit distracted by phone calls and stuff, but also just overall I got outplayed in a few cases. I actually encountered an Ostrom of all things, and I was not familiar with how to fight Ostrom. I knew he had ability to strike first, but I wasn't also. What I did failed to notice was he also had a self-res ability, and that kind of threw me off. Anyway, my goal for this week was to try to use Shilinka more. I mean, most of the videos I've seen her showing off how she can like one-shot jugglers and stuff, but what I really need her for is not really for tank busting, but for the fact that she can bypass guard, essentially making her assassin. So I've been trying to use her in that way. She does pretty good damage if you can get her in range, which isn't too bad. I did get, I finally got Apex boots. I finally got a pair of Apex boots after, like, I don't know, over a year of playing. So I gave that to Shilinka, and that's giving her additional mobility as well as attack power. And then I think the other loss was from a Bozel, who constantly procced his clock, and so he just AoE'd me to the ground. And then the last fight I did before this one, I got my Freya got one-shotted by a Sigma. Sigma's usually built as an archer, but he also has infantry troops that he can actually attack at range with using his various passive abilities, and he just blasted her, just 100% to 0, just like that. So that is definitely a character I need to keep an eye on in the future. So let's talk about this box, because holy cow, this box is all over the place. I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks. It looks to be heavy in the Glory faction, or Glory of Light, or whatever it's called. So they got that going for them. Yeah, I think it's almost entirely Glory with the exception of Tiaris and Luna here. But yeah, 5 tanks, so that was something. Also, 1, 2, 3, technically 4 healers in the deedlet, so this thing is just super heavy in tank and healing. So I wasn't exactly sure what the plan of attack for this particular kit was. I was a bit concerned, of course, about Lustriel because she could bypass guard. Alucia has hooks, so she can pull people out of formation. Melda, I think that's her name, has, or Amelia, is that how you pronounce her name? I don't remember. She has the ability to first strike. Brenda has her weird freaking does fixed damage based off hitting herself or allies. The extra range from Young Jessica, the teleport nonsense that freaking Ledin has. It's just it's a lot of things to keep a focus on. And of course, there's a freaking Elwyn, and then with Estelle here with the movement buffs. So definitely expecting Estelle and Luna here, because obviously they can give additional mobility for all these slow characters here. They banned my Estelle, not surprised. I banned, let's see. Oh, I banned the Juggler first. I completely forgot to even mention the Jugglers there. So yeah, I banned Illustrial because that she can bypass guard, especially on this map. She can only bypass guard if she has her unique equipment, but the only reason you would probably be using her is if you did have her unique equipment, so definitely did not want to deal with her. Also got rid of Tiaras because I did not want to give them additional self-healing capabilities. Also, freaking, I don't want to give attack blessing either. Went ahead and grabbed Freya because that was my only tank available. They banned my faction buffers, not surprised. Grabbed that are let in, so they have a faction buffer. They have 2 actually. So yeah, I went ahead and banned Luna and their deedlet. I'm kind of just whittling away at their healers a little bit. Honestly, like looking at this kit, I was like, okay, it's really tanky, but my tank can endure these pretty easily as long as I don't have to deal with hooks or teleports and things like that. So I was most concerned about maybe Young Jessica at this point, and I guess technically Deedlet, since she could be kind of an offensive healer. So they left me with 1 faction buffer, and I'm gonna get, well, technically I had Freya, but they left me with Zerda, so I went ahead and grabbed it. They banned one of my healers and took out Yulia. So So yeah, they grabbed young Jessica. I'm not sure if she's being used as a healer or not. Grabbed TRS because I didn't exactly want to get reduced down to D-Lit as my only healer for this fight, because it could be a slog. They went ahead and grabbed Almeda for their healer, their main healer, I guess. At this point, I was like, all right, well, they already took care of my Claret, so I went ahead and grabbed Angelina at this point, which, with this slow-moving mob they have, I could definitely do a lot of hit and runs if I need to. They banned my Rachel and my Mystery Knight, so not a big deal there. They picked Estelle, not surprised. And I went ahead and grabbed Shilinka. So my guess for this, for my opponent here, is they probably have no experience dealing with Shilinka, because that's kind of the feeling I got. But Almeda here is full heal. Got heal, mass heal, holy word. Elwyn is standard kit Elwyn. Actually, he went faction buff with Elwyn. Ledin went pure Burning Sun, Righteous Duel, Consecration, so kind of an offense tank type thing. Also has additional movement. I didn't notice that. He has boots. In fact, a lot of these have boots, I think. Yeah, these two do. Young Jessica here is not built as a healer, but as a single target, just nuker. So I was definitely most concerned about her. She is 6 stars, which means if she stands still for a round, she can move 2 spaces while in her siege tank mode. And then Estelle here, pretty standard here. She's got Enduring Hope. She didn't take Phoenix. Instead, she took Skyne Staff and Whirlwind Staff, which honestly I think that's pretty good because Skyne Staff can definitely do some poking from a distance. But yeah, obviously I want to go for the healer, but the main target here is Young Jessica. Everything else is here is physical besides Almeda. So that's going to be my main targets. And as you can probably see, I have 3 people that are Meteor faction. I have multiple assassins. I have Angelina here to do some manipulation. And then I got Freya and Tiaras here for just some extra support. So yeah, faction buffing herself and Tiaras. Hasn't gotten to siege tank mode yet, so I'm not too worried about it. If she does have her unique helmet, I think it's a helmet. If she stands still and doesn't attack, she can get an additional action. But since she already got her breeze buff, I don't really need to worry about her doing any of that sort of shenanigans. So I kind of can measure out the distance now of how far her attacks can go, and kind of go from there. Pretty much, if she, her options are she either stays still and goes siege mode here, in which case the range is about to here, or she moves and then goes into siege mode, in which case she can't do anything anyway. So pretty good stuff there. I'm a little concerned about Elwyn and Estelle here because they're the movement buff combination here. So I definitely wanted to strike first if I could. With how they are moving closer, I held back as long as I could, preparing for Angelina's attack, just to make sure they kind of clump up a bit. That, and they might have no experience dealing with Angelina at this point. So at this point, I have enough to... once Estelle moved up, I had confirmation that I had enough to actually do the combination here. So the title search here will give her 2 additional movement, put her right here, and then it's a 3x3 AoE here. If I hit 3 targets, I get an additional action. So with that, I'm all set up. I don't need to worry about anything. My opponent has no way of moving these targets until the next round, so I am all set and ready to go. So I went ahead and gave Attack Blessing. She, of course, is already faction buffed and all ready to go. And I'm also going to get Shilinka prepped as soon as I could. So we'll be going from there. And as an added bonus, they went ahead and pushed in Elwyn. So I was like, alright, well, AoE 4 of you then. Actually, I don't think it's 4. I'm still going to go for 3. So I have... actually, this is the first time I've had Shilinka in a video, I think. So she's only 5 stars right now. Her special talent is if she ends her action with no allies nearby, she gets a damage increase and damage received reduced by 16% for 1 turn. And if she ever gets killed, she self-reses and goes to sleep for 2 rounds. And then essentially she just kind of sits there for a bit. And then she has a teleport, which is Fleeting Flash. The passive's kind of interesting. If you have ranged troops, it will make it so you automatically have flying. it's kind of pointless because she also has access to fairy archers, which automatically give flying, or the equivalent of flying. But essentially, it teleports you, gives you +2 mobility, and gives you death blow, which is where if there's at least one enemy within 1 block range of the target, you directly attack the enemy hero instead of the troops. She's got Broken Dreams. If there are no friendly units within 3 blocks when she attacks, she ignores guard. So this is our guard bypass. If she does, if she does gets this off, she will also move 2 additional blocks after defeating an enemy. This doesn't really do anything because she generally has Meteor faction buff. And then Bloody Grip is our 3-cost skill. It's her highest damaging ability. Her melee soldier. Yeah, both these attacks are 2 ranged, and they'll include the melee soldiers. It'll self-heal her by 30% of the damage. Every enemy that's nearby the target reduces the defense of that target by 20%, up to 40%. This is why Juggler gets kind of wrecked by this attack. Also, if there are no enemies within 2 blocks of the target, instead of getting the fancy defense debuff, you can instead act again and have fun with that. So yeah, pretty good stuff. And this is also Skeleton Knights. My Skeleton Knights are level 10, and since I usually focus on Priest and Mage troops, stats are not too shabby. Anyway, enough rambling, let's go on. So, Almeda went forward, so I was like, okay, I get to hit all 4 of you. With the positioning, there's no way I can go after Almeda, but I can definitely go after Young Jessica. A disadvantage of having let in with only his 3-cost skill is he can't really guard until he can't really get his increased guard range until after he's used it. So, took care of Young Jessica. I specifically, yeah, that happened. So I specifically moved up to here because it put it just out of Elwin's attack range. If I had gone here, Elwin would have been in range because he was right here and he could move 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, he couldn't move there. I think I just tried to move as far away from Elwin as possible, and I think that was just the intention. I went ahead and he moved Elwin first, so I think he moved Elwin first to avoid getting attacked by Shilinka. The only person that could have attacked Shilinka was Ledin, but I pushed him back. So that's why I went ahead and put her within attack range in the tower. So I'm guessing he moved Elwin away to save him from Shilinka, but I went ahead. That gave me an opening to go after Estelle, and since, like I mentioned before, Broken Dreams could bypass guards, and I had the death blow effect, so I just was able to immediately kill her, and then I could move afterwards. So, moving afterwards, just go into the forest. Almeda's going to do some pretty good damage because I have undead troops. So I went ahead and moved in. Almeda actually is immune to fixed damage, so I couldn't actually kill her. And then Righteous Duel. Yeah, even with a crit, it's not enough damage. At this point, I was like, alright, well, I guess I can move in safely now. And then that move he did to go and attack Angelina put him exactly in range of Zerda, and since he had practically no health left, I was able to just finish him off. Pretty good damage, even with a counterattack. But of course, he could self-heal. I went ahead and finished off Almeda at this point. Healed Shilinka. And then uses her 3-cost skill to finish this off. So not bad, 30,000 damage. The only disadvantage about attacking at 2 range with Shilinka, it's a kind of similar issue that Mystery Knight has, is the attack animation. Your general actually attack before your troops do, or at least hit the opponent before your troops do. and so that means a good portion of your attack power actually gets soaked up by troops, but from your main damage dealer, and then your troops would follow up and barely hurt the leader. But in that case, there wasn't really that much of a danger. All right, so there we go. Got my 1 match win for the week. Been pretty exhausted, so I'm definitely not going to do any more this week. Other than that, not much else to go over. Supposedly next week I should be doing some polls for Licorice and Renata or Rena. Definitely would like both of them. Definitely need Licorice. I'm trying to catch up on PvE stuff because I've been kind of slacking on that. This will probably be the first encounter where I'll never go in and do it because it's pure RNG. This, for those who are familiar with the game and are already at this point in the chapters, yeah, they know what I'm talking about. But essentially, it has a bunch of slimes that self-res at full hit points, and it's just not a fun thing to do. And you're pretty much the only ways to fight the battle is to damage rush and pray that the RNG is on your side. That's pretty much it. So instead, I'm just going to not bother and just continue with the rest of the story. Besides that, the only thing I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do is exactly who I'm going to take out to add in Licorice. Licorice supposedly can heal. I mean, she gets plus healing and all that. One of her gimmicks is she can transform and turn all that plus healing into plus damage. I don't know if she actually can be an effective full healer or not. If she can be a full healer, I may replace Chloe, which Chloe's definitely been pretty useful, and I think she has a last rites now. But if I can replace Chloe with Licorice, that'll probably be best. I may also drop Mystery Knight and start driving some dark types to add to the box. I'm thinking maybe Varna to give a little bit more buff flexibility, because obviously my opponent will always focus down my my faction buffs if possible. So I'm definitely thinking of something along those lines. Right now, as far as faction buffs are concerned, or dark faction is concerned, we have a few options. We would have essentially and technically Listel. Probably not going to bring back Listel. I think I'm good without her. I don't really need Lana. She does have her 3-cost skill, but I have Rachel, and Rachel can at least provide gospel buffs. So I'm probably not going to take Lana. My Renee is only 4 stars right now, though she's actually still pretty potent at 4 stars. She's definitely someone I may consider in the future because she's kind of like a Bozel, where she can do a bunch of stats effects while she does damage. Farrakhan would actually be a really cool assassin, but since I tend to ban Juggler, that means Landius is usually the tank I have to deal with, and Landius cannot be displaced. Farrakhan has the ability to swap positions with an opponent, but I don't think that will work against Landius's 3-cost skill. She also has the ability to take an extra action just from attacking and copying someone's troop type. So unfortunately, I'm probably not going to use Farrakhan. She would be definitely really good if I was not always banning Juggler first. So not her. Not really much I can do with Paratess. I think Shilinka kind of fills her role better, and it's a bit more durable. So that kind of leaves Sonya and Varna. Varna, I do want to try out. Her unique items should be coming soon, which will expand her AoE range. She also has access to attack the AoE attack buff, which could be a good alternative to faction buffs if I don't have access to them. So I'm definitely thinking that. Sonya, she does have her 3-cost skill. She definitely is super mobile, but she can't really do anything about bypassing guard, so I don't think I'm going to be using her. So kind of be these 2 characters I'm be considering adding to the box once I get Licorice. So I might replace Mystery Knight with Varna. Mystery Knight, even off faction, is pretty good, but unfortunately I kind of will rather have somebody I can buff over those I can't. Also, Varna's just very mobile anyway, so it kind of fills the same niche without having to go off faction. And so maybe Varna So in which case, I'll probably be dropping Mystery Knight and possibly Chloe. But it really kind of depends on whether or not Lycoris can be actually a healer or not. If she can't, then I'm kind of limited on my options. At which point I may have to consider like dropping maybe Claret or somebody like that. But we'll see how that goes. Honestly, like I said, the best case scenario is if she can actually be a healer, dropping Chloe would make it so that all my healers can always have a faction buff, because Lycoris can buff herself, and then Freya can buff the other three, that being Deedlit, Sophia, and TRS. So that's kind of some of the options that are available to me. Yeah, it could be a bit troublesome trying to find room in a box, because 2 of those slots are going to be tanks, 4 of them are going to be healers or Deedlit, and then the rest, and then a good chunk of it's going to be taken up by faction buffers, depending on what sort of kit you have. That's kind of the main advantage of having characters like Juggler and Landius, since they're good tanks and have faction buffs. It definitely gives a lot more flexibility on the options. But unfortunately for me, I have my DPS has to be my faction buffers, because I don't have an alternative. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I think training's doing its thing. So like I said, probably next video will be a summon video, and hopefully it'll go well. So I am the Depressed Eeyore. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Arena. See you guys next time.